Speaker of the House, honorable leaders and members of this distinguished House, the Chief of Defense Staff and Service Chiefs and IGP, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, invited guests. I am Vice Admiral E.I. Ogalla, Chief of Naval Staff, and I'm delighted to be here with you on the invitation to participate in this well-intended, well-timed security sector debate for the House of Representatives. I will start my brief by starting from the known before I go into the unknown. What all of us know here is that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, has vested the responsibility of the defense of the nation's territorial integrity and sovereignty to the armed forces of Nigeria, of which the Nigerian Navy is a part of. Particularly, the Nigerian Navy, under this constitutional role, takes responsibility for the defense of the nation's territorial integrity and sovereignty, particularly in the maritime domain. In addition, the Armed Forces Act, which is an act of the National Assembly, has vested other roles on the Nigerian Navy. The Armed Forces Act, in addition to the roles of the constitutional roles assigned to the Navy, has vested the Nigerian Navy with the role of assisting and coordinating the enforcement of all custom laws in Nigeria, in the maritime domain, assisting and coordinating the enforcement of all immigration laws within the maritime domain, and also assisting in enforcing all laws acceded to Nigeria, international laws, regional laws, and other conventions of which Nigeria is a signatory. The Nigerian Navy has responsibility for carrying out this role based on the Armed Forces Act. In addition, the Armed Forces Act has vested the Nigerian Navy with the responsibility of coordinating all national hydrographic surveys. If you look at the roles of the Nigerian Navy, in the Navy we've been able to classify it into three. Our basic military role, which is defense of the nation's territorial integrity. Then other roles, we have classified them into what we call our policing roles and our diplomatic roles. And it is based on these roles that the Nigerian Navy have developed a strategy of action on how to achieve these mandates. Our policing roles are basically what we call our provision of military aid to civil authority and military aid to civil power. This is what encompasses our roles in terms of internal security, our ability to police the maritime environment, and even our strategic involvement in the defense of the nation's offshore oil and gas resources, in addition to other resources within the maritime environment. Now, looking at these roles, for us to be able to perform these roles in the maritime domain, we have to look at what is the extent of Nigeria's maritime environment. Nigeria, based on the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, has an exclusive economic zone of 200 nautical miles from the baseline. Baseline means the coastline. These 200 nautical miles, considering our coastline of about 420 nautical miles, translates to about 84,000 square nautical miles. If you convert it to square kilometers, it gives you roughly about 300,000 square kilometers, which is about 1/3 of Nigeria's landmass. This is the extent of the responsibility that the Nigerian Navy has to police, particularly when it comes to our policing duties. And it is beyond that, because Nigeria, based on our strategic position in the Gulf of Guinea, sees the entire Gulf of Guinea as our maritime area of interest. And therefore, we have a larger role even beyond our exclusive economic zone. Now, this maritime area of interest and our maritime environment is the treasure base of the nation's resources, starting from oil and gas to fisheries and other mineral resources, then including the fact that it constitutes a major trade route. Of course, we all know here that over 80% of all trade between Nigeria and other countries are based on seaborne trade. This gives a vast responsibility to the Nigerian Navy. In order to carry out this responsibility, the Nigerian Navy over the years have developed various strategies. Our most recent strategy is what we call the Total Spectrum Maritime Strategy, in which we have divided the entire spectrum of our environment into 5 spectrums, consisting of the exclusive economic zone, the territorial waters and the inland waters. And when I say the inland waters, I mean all the creeks and rivers up to Lake Chad. Those are part of our inland waters. Then the land spectrum. It is our total spectrum maritime strategy which we have designed that enables us to be able to deploy within the land spectrum of Nigeria's, and that is why the Nigerian Navy is presently deployed in over 30 states of this country in support of the police and the army when it comes to internal security operations. In order to be able to achieve the objectives of this, our strategy, we have developed various operational commands. We have 3 operational commands, one in the east, one in the central, and one in the west. We have the logistics command, we have the naval doctrine command. All these are areas in which we have organized the Nigerian Navy to be able to achieve this, our statutory mandate. In line with our strategy also, we have developed what we call the Trinity of Action concept. And this is where our operations are based on 3 aspects. That is surveillance, response, capability, and then law enforcement. Surveillance is our ability to be able to see a complete picture of the maritime environment and our operating environment in such a way that we minimize our deployments to be able to achieve better results with less. In terms of this surveillance, the Nigerian Navy have developed what we call the Falcon Eye Maritime Surveillance System, which gives us a complete 24 hours all-weather picture of the maritime environment, particularly looking outward towards the sea. With this facility, in addition to other forms of intelligence and surveillance facility using our helicopters and others, we are confident to say that we have a complete picture of our maritime environment outside the backwaters and the creeks. Also, as part of the Trinity of Action, we have over the years developed a fleet that is competent and responsive, that can respond to any identified threat which our surveillance systems detect. We have various offshore patrol vessels, frigates, and other patrol platforms to be able to achieve this response capability. Now, in terms of the law enforcement, the Nigerian Navy is working closely with other agencies, particularly the Nigerian Police, the Nigerian EFCC, and other law enforcement agencies to be able to ensure that when we detect, we respond, and we arrest, that the criminals are actually brought into book to be able to answer for their crimes. Because we realize that no matter what we do, without the law enforcement bringing these criminals to book, we will always go back to start from the beginning. As part of this concept, within the past few years, we have been engaged in several operations. Some of these operations are basically targeted at ensuring that we reduce crimes in the maritime environment, particularly critical issues of crude oil theft. We all know that Nigeria is an oil-producing country, and our economic survival depends on how we are able to protect that vital resource. And as such, we have several operations that are targeted towards this, and as well as securing the maritime environment from other forms of criminalities. Particular note is our Operation Dakata Dabarao, which in Hausa language, okay, I know why the honorable members are laughing. It means catch the thief. Well, this, as the name implies, the operation is designed to be able to bring crude oil theft and other criminal activities in the maritime environment to a halt. When I mean a halt, may not be to reduce it to zero, but to bring it to the barest minimum. And since we launched that operation, what we have been noticing is a gradual and continuous reduction in the activities of these criminals.
Order, please. Order. Order, please, in the House. Order.
We also have several operations. Recently, we launched what we call the Operation Water Guard, mostly in the Western Front, that is between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin. This operation is designed to address the prevailing threat in that area, the prevailing maritime crime in that area, which is smuggling of rice, smuggling of fuel to our other countries, which is one of the major areas that the President and Commander-in-Chief have directed us to make sure we face them headlong. Operation Water Guard has been critical in reducing criminal activity, particularly smuggling of petroleum products to the Republic of Benin and Togo and the rest of them. We have recorded a lot of successes in this regard. We are also engaged in Operation Awase in Lagos area. Of course, we all know that the Lekki axis of Lagos is gradually becoming an economic nerve center of this country. If you take statistics of all the container and shipping activities that come into Nigeria, over 70% of them end up between Lagos and Ogun State. Now the Dangote refinery is also coming up, and we see this area as strategic and important, and we believe that it is only if we put our resources there that we'll be able to check these crimes before they escalate. And to this extent, we have established an operational base in the Lekki Free Zone area and also at the Takwa Bay area. It is also on record that within the past 1 or 2 months, there has been some improvement in terms of oil production. This is not just something that was by accident. It is by the continuous effort of the Nigerian Navy and other security agencies, the Army, the police, and the rest of us. We have done this because when I took over, the first thing I told, based on my own command philosophy, is that we must purge ourselves. And by the time we purge ourselves, we'll be able to purge others. That is what we are doing. So the issue of collusion, the issue of involvement in crimes, the issue of aiding the saboteurs, I can say that we have brought it to almost zero as I am speaking to you now. And that is why these improvements are being recorded. Sir, I want to first of all thank the House for your continuous and unflinching support to the Nigerian Navy, both in terms of making adequate appropriations for us to do our job, and in providing support for us. The public enlightenment, including what you are doing now, is part of those things that assist the people to know exactly what we are doing in order to support us and to support you. I want to thank you for that. But I must also say that the Nigerian Navy is a service that is technology-based. It is a service that is resource-based. There is no Navy that can function without adequate resources. We are doing our best within the available resources, but we continue to seek your intervention and your support to provide more resources for us to be able to do our job. These resources are basically required in terms of what we call fleet renewal, that is to buy more ships and platforms and aircrafts, construct jetties and other support facilities for the Nigerian Navy. They are also required in terms of human capital development. The Navy is just about, not just about 30,000 for now. We are making effort to expand the size of the Navy and train them adequately to be able to meet the objectives of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for the betterment of the nation and the well-being of its people. Sir, and to this end, sir, I want to just suggest a few ways forward for us to be able to do more. We are requesting the House to intervene in ensuring that we are able to enhance our surveillance capability to cover the backwaters. Like what I said earlier, our surveillance capability, using the technology-based surveillance capability captures only the coastal waters up to the EEZ and beyond. But we are looking at how to extend it to cover the backwaters, the creeks, the rivers, and other areas within the land domain that are behind the coastline. If we do this, we should be able to adequately say that those other activities of oil theft, pipeline vandalization, illegal refineries, and so on, we'll be able to see them 24 hours irrespective of the weather. As of now, we depend on human intelligence and other forms of intelligence to be able to intercept and deal with these areas. And not minding that, we have done a lot in this regard. There is no day that we do not deactivate some of these illegal refineries, and but it is always very easy for these criminals to go back and reset up. But we are dealing with them as we continue to face them. We're also requesting, sir, that there's a bill that is pending at the National Assembly, which is what we call the Maritime Security Trust Fund. We recognize that budgetary allocations have never been enough to address all the critical challenges of any navy, not only in Nigeria but all over the world. And that is why we propose this Maritime Security Trust Fund to enable the operators in this industry pay a little token of their profit dedicated to provision of platforms and other facilities for addressing oil theft. It will not only be channeled to the Nigerian Navy, but to all other agencies that are engaged in addressing oil theft and addressing other forms of illegalities in our maritime domain. This is one of the areas that we are requesting the House of Reps to assist us. On this note, sir, I want to thank the Speaker once again for the opportunity that you have given to me to come here and make this presentation. We are open and we are ready to take other areas of contributions and questions, because we recognize that no man has it all. And we can always get something that we can use to modify our operations from this honorable house. I thank you very much, sir. God bless you.